Hello, folks. This is Wager Detective here. Thank you for tuning in. It is 5:11 in the evening, early evening here in Atlantic City on November 24th, 2025. Wager Detective is going to cap this Carolina Panthers game versus the San Francisco 49ers. Let's get right into it. What I like to do first when I cap a game is look at the head-to-head history of how teams play and how they play when they play at home or away. Carolina is 5-2 in their last 7 versus the 49ers. The plus-minus differential for the teams is even. Neither team has a point differential over that span. It's completely even. The average score over the last 7 games is 46 points per game. Carolina is 5-2 in their last 7 at the 49ers, and Carolina's +1 points per game differential there, and the average score is 47.3. So 5-2 Carolina is in the last 7 versus the 49ers, and they're 5-2 in their last 7 at San Francisco. On Monday Night Football, Carolina is 5-5 in their last 10 Monday Night Football games. Over their last 7, okay, they are 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2. They're 5-2 over their last 7 Monday night, or excuse me, 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3. They're 3-4 in their last 7 Monday Night Football games. Average score is 45.3 per game, and their last 5 road Monday Night Football games, they are 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. They're 2-3. Their average minus 4.4 points per game average over those last 5 on the road on Monday Night Football, and the average score is about 47.6. So Carolina, as we see here, against the 49ers, their last 7, about 46 a game. Their last 7 at 47 points a game. Their last 7 Monday Night Football, about 45 points a game. Their last 5 on the road Monday Night Football, about 47. So we're hovering around that 46, 47, 45 range. If we look at the 49ers, all time, they're 31-16 at home on Monday Night Football. They are 5-5 in their last 10 on Monday Night Football. Their last 9 Monday Night Football games, they are 4-5. They are plus 4.22 points per game average over those last 9 Monday Night Football games, and the average score of those last 9 San Francisco Monday Night Football games is 49.6. If we look at what they are at home, they are they're 3-4 in their last 7 Monday Night Football games at home. Okay. 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3. Yeah, they're 3-4 in their last 7 Monday Night home football games. Their average plus minus over those 7 games is plus 2.28 points per game average, and the average score is about 51.6. So if we take their last 9 at home and their last 7, or their last 9 overall Monday Night Football and their last 7 at home, it's between 49 and 51 points there. So let's dig into it. Let's see what's going on here. Carolina really hasn't had the toughest schedule. We know they're coached by Dave Canales. Not having a great time of it. 11-17 overall. And then his offensive coordinator, Brad Idzik, in his second year, and Elijah Evero is in his third year with Carolina. He started his career in Denver in 2022 as the defensive coordinator there. So let's get into it, see what they do. We look at Carolina, not real prolific offensively. They're 22nd in yards, 18th in giving up yards on defense. Where do they stand out at? They're 22nd in passing touchdowns with 15, but they're 7th in the NFL in giving up passing touchdowns, only giving up 13. They're middle of the pack as far as throwing interceptions. They're 18th with 8, and on defense, they've picked the ball off 7 times, puts them at 16th. And then rushing the ball, they are 9th. I mean, they got 1,400 yards roughly there, puts them at 9th, and then they've given up 1,244, puts them at 16th on the ground, what teams like to do against them. So pretty stout, not great, better against the run than they are the pass. And if we look at what they do, what else do they do well? Their average drive, they're 3rd in the NFL on offense, with average drive being 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and average plays 6.5 plays per drive, puts them at 4th in the NFL, and average yards per drive 31.3 puts them at 16th. And they're sitting between 20 and 30 in the NFL on defense in time per drive, plays per drive, and yards per drive. They do get into that top 20 as far as points per drive, giving up 2.23 there. So let's take a look at what they've done. They're coming off a road win. This is going to be a back-to-back road game for them. They did beat Atlanta last week, 30-27. If we take a look at what they do well, they give up a lot of sacks. You look right here, they gave up 5 sacks last week against Atlanta. They're going to have to definitely, the fact that they won that game is pretty amazing. They have turned the ball over 15 times on the year, 8 by interception. And if we look at what they've done defensively, they've only have 11 turnovers on defense, so they're -4 on the defensive department. But you look at the last 3 games, they have managed to get 4 turnovers on defense the last 4 games. But they have gone a number of games, 4 games this year, where they haven't gotten a turnover on the year. What teams like doing on them? Teams have passed on them for 13 touchdowns, and they've rushed on them for 13. So teams are balancing them out as far as what they do to them through the ground and on the air. They did have 3 rushing touchdowns against them last week, but they didn't give up any passing. So in the last 3 weeks, they've only given up 2 passing touchdowns, but they've only given up 4 rushing. We look at the competition, not that bad. Green Bay, we know New Orleans is bad. You lost against them, which was a surprise, because they've had a pretty easy schedule, and the teams that are really good have beaten them. Jacksonville, good, beat them by 16. Arizona, not so good. They lost to them by 5. They did beat Atlanta 30-0. Then they came back the next week and got destroyed by New England 13-42. Then they beat Miami. Not really something to write home about. They beat Dallas by 3. Back-to-back weeks they win by 3. They go on the road, beat the Jets by 7. And then they got clobbered by Buffalo by 31. They did beat Green Bay. They went on the road and beat Green Bay in Lambeau, which is impressive. Then they come back next week and lose to New Orleans. Now, last week they beat Atlanta in overtime, and now they're going to head to San Francisco, where they do have a good recent history against them. 5-2, like we said, last 7 versus San Francisco, and 5-2 last 7 at San Fran. And you look at what they do. I mean, offensive. You look what they do. Oh, this is. Let's see what they do. I mean, if we look at them, they're just not really. 17 for 20 on field goals. Yards per play about 4.97. They only have 13. Let me see here. No, I'm sorry. They only got 16 sacks on the year. So they've been sacked 27 times, and they've only sacked the quarterback 16. So they're -11 there. They don't get any pressure on the quarterbacks. And again, they got to clean up the turnovers, but if you look, the last 3 games, they've had 2 games where they've turned the ball over 3 times, and obviously both those games they lost. One by 31 and then another one by 16. So they're 2 of their biggest losses this year have come when they turn the ball over 3 times. So they're going to want to keep the ball, protect it, see what, if they can do that, they may have a shot here. If we look at what they do, third down conversions, they're 22nd in the NFL, and they're 30th in giving up the third down conversion. And if we look at red zone, they're 21st in the NFL, 19 touchdowns out of 35 attempts. And they're pretty good at not letting teams get in the red zone. There's, touchdowns once they get in the red zone. They're 7th in the NFL, so they give up yards. I would imagine they're chunk plays, chunk yards, explosives, but once they get inside the 20, they do clamp up there. They are top 10 defensive efficiency in the red zone. Bryce Young is going to be back tonight. He's got 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Again, he's been sacked 19 times. He does have 3 fourth quarter comebacks and 4 game-winning drives. Okay, and on the ground, look, 7 rushing. I mean, they're definitely going to have to get better there. Rico Dowdle. Take a look and see where Rico went to college. Yeah, let's take a look here. South Carolina. Okay. South Carolina product. He's got all the rushing on the ground for them. 833 yards, right? 41 first down, so that's who they're looking at. And then receiving, they got Tatario McMillan. He's the number 1 draft pick, I believe, in last year's draft out of Arizona. And then they got Xavier Legette. He was also another first round draft pick not too long ago, out of South Carolina. Yeah, he was drafted in the first round, 32nd overall. So they got 2 first round draft pick wide receivers, and it shows. I mean, those are the guys that are leading the team in touchdowns. And then you got a couple guys, Mitchell Evans with 2, Hunter Renfrow with 2. So they can score through the air. Nobody really impresses on the kick returns. You got Rico Dowdle's got 7 for 174, average of about 24.9 a return. And then punt returns, duties primarily going to Trevor Etienne. 13 returns for 90 yards, about 6.9 yards a return on the punt. Kicking, Ryan Fitzgerald's their main field goal kicker. He is 17 of 20. He's 5 for 6 from 40 to 49 and 2 for 3 from 50 plus. 16 and 19 extra points made. It's, that's a little concerning. All right, you missed 3. He's got 46 kickoffs and only 17.4 of those are touchbacks. So, not something to write home about. You look at their punter, Sam Martin's got 37 punts, about 48 yards a punt. And out of his 37 punts, 43.2 are landing inside the 20, which isn't bad. Not bad there. Defensively, who's doing the work? What's getting done? As far as sacks, Derek Brown looks to be a top-notch guy. See where this fella went to. Auburn, first-round pick, 7th overall in the 2020 draft. Okay, so Derek Brown's a guy that causes havoc. He's got 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 8 quarterback hits on the year. Who else stands out? Eshawn Robinson's got 2.5 sacks, but they're not really getting it done in the sack. They only had 16 sacks. It just looks very, very a small number there. 41 tackles for loss and only 39 hits. So we can pretty much gather there that they're not getting pressure on the quarterback, and that you could run into problems there against Purdy and company with that. We take a look at the Vegas lines here. As an underdog, they are 6-3. I mean, you got to give them that. I mean, they've only been a favorite in 2 games here, and both one time they were a favorite, they won. Another time they were a favorite, they lost. But you look at their 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-1 in their last 5 as a dog. So that's very impressive. And then you look on the road, 1-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. They're 3-2 on the road as a dog this year. So not bad. I mean, this team is fighting, man. They're not bad. And like I said, there's a couple guys, from what I understand, linebackers that are out for this team. I want to take a look at the injury report. Trevin Wallace, I know there was a couple things that I saw online. Christian Roseboom, yeah, he played 11 games this year, so he must be South Dakota State. Let's see what he's done this year. I mean, he don't have any sacks. And we look at combined, he's got no quarterback hits. He's got a couple tackles for loss. I don't know if that guy's going to be a guy that you can't necessarily, you can look at and be like, okay, he's gonna be a guy we miss. So Roseboom, what about this guy, Trevin Wallace? He's out. Played 10 games this year, and he's only got 1 sack, 2 sacks on the year. But he does have a lot of solo tackles, so this might be a guy. He's got some TFLs, and he gets pressure on the quarterback at least once in the last 4 games he played. So they do got a couple of guys out there, but they're getting McMillan back. Ransom looks like he's going to play. Wharton's going to play. Bryce Young looks like they're going to be in there. So good in the red zone. Carolina's got to definitely not turn the ball over and try to find somebody that's going to rush some yards to keep them chains moving. Let's take a look at the 49ers. See what they do well. They're coming off a road. Oh no, hold on. Getting a little too long with this video. Coached by Kyle Shanahan, Clay Kubiak, and Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator. They're banged up too as well, this team. But if we look at them, what do they like to do? They got 20 passing touchdowns on the year, and then they have 8 rushing. So they're not much better rushing the ball. I mean, it's surprising since you do have Christian McCaffrey. But you look how they've picked it up the last couple of weeks. But look at their 1, 2, 3, 4. Their first 5 games of the season, they had no rushing touchdowns, and then they've recently just picked it up. So they're starting to find a rhythm on the ground. 5 rushing touchdowns in the last 3 weeks when they had none in the first 5 weeks. And then not really getting sacked that much. They're keeping their quarterback upright, only been sacked 19 times. Like I said, 20 passing touchdowns. They have 6 in the last 2 weeks against the Rams and Arizona. So that's concerning because both those teams have great defensive secondaries. If you look at them, they're not bad. So Carolina's going to be tested there, and that's the Carolina weakness. They're good against the run, but they've given up touchdowns through the air. So, and we know that the 49ers got tons of talent over there. San Francisco's turned the ball over 15 times, so 3 less than Carolina. But again, another team that doesn't create turnovers. I mean, you look at them, they've only created 10 turnovers themselves. So both these teams turn over the ball quite a bit, but they don't create turnovers on defense. What do they do against San Francisco teams? They've given up 21 in the air passing, and they've given up only 8 rushing. So both these teams are like mirror images in the fact of how they score and how they get scored on. Both teams score through the air, but don't have a rushing game. And when on defense, both teams get scored on through the air, but they don't get scored on rushing. So you could look for a pass-heavy attack maybe tonight because both teams are not prolific at getting to the quarterback. They do have only 12 sacks on the year themselves, so neither one of these teams are good at getting pressure on the quarterback. So that's something to keep an eye on. That would lead towards an over if I was to think about it. But 49ers are coming off a road game last week where they were at Arizona. So they'll be coming back home. And if you look at them this year, I mean, come on. They've played 11 games, and only 1, 2, 3, 4 of them have been at home. Think about that. They played 7 on the road and 4 at home. So there's something to be said about going to, and you look at their games. 2 on the road, 2 at home. 2 on the road, 1 at home. 2 on the road, 1 at home. 1 on the road, 1 at home. So they're a lot of traveling in there, guys. That has to be a factor in there. I don't know who were the schedule makers there, but they just, you go to Houston, then you go to New York, then you come back home, right? So look at that. You go from Seattle to New Orleans. Think about that trip right there. You go from Seattle to New Orleans. That right there is just a trip in itself, and then you got to come all the way back home to San Francisco. And then you're home again against Jacksonville, which took its toll, right? You lose that game. Then you got to go to the Rams, which isn't that far away. But then you got to go to Tampa Bay. That took a toll on you. Then you come back home from Tampa Bay. The following week, you beat Atlanta. But I'm sure Atlanta probably beat themselves. And then it's back on the road. So you got to go from San Francisco to Houston. That took its toll in the first part of the leg of the trip. And you lose that one. And then you got to go to New York, which isn't necessarily that far away up the coast. But you win that game. Then you come back home from New York. At New York, and you come home. And you lose to the Rams. But then you got to go back to Arizona, which isn't far. And then Arizona back home should be a fairly reasonable trip, right? And here we are. So they've had a rough schedule of different cities and places to be, man. You look at them, they're 10th in yards. But they're 26th in the NFL in giving up yards. First downs, they're 5th in the NFL, but league ranked defense, they're 25th in giving up first downs. Passing yards, They're third in the NFL, but you look at where they are defensively, they're 28th. Passing touchdowns, they have 20. That puts them at 6th, but you look at, they've given up 21 passing touchdowns. It puts them at 26th. So good offensively, but defensively, and we know they're banged up. Rushing touchdowns, they're 19th, but they do good against the rush. Rushing touchdowns, they've only given up 8. And then we look at what they do offensively. Average time of drives, they're 13th in the NFL. Average plays, they're 6th. So they're right there with Carolina. Both these teams move the chains. And average yards, they're 8th. So both teams good offensively when they get the ball, and their average drive and time and plays and yards. And then defensively, it's the complete opposite. Okay, third down conversions, they're 3rd in the NFL. Converting 46% of the time, but defensively, they give up 41% on third down conversions, puts them at 22nd. And if we look at the red zone, they are 9th in the NFL, but they're 19th in red zone defense. So Carolina is better there as far as efficiency. They shut you down when it gets to that red zone. San Francisco is a little bit more lenient. Let's not forget, McCaffrey's coming back home, right? He's going to be playing. He's going to be back home playing his former team that drafted him. Brock Purdy's back, and he's having a pretty decent year when he's in there. He's got 7 touchdowns but 4 interceptions, so he can turn the ball over. You know what I'm saying? He's only been sacked 3 times, and he's only played in 3 games. So this will be his 4th game started this year. You got to think. You got to work off some of them things. You did have a good game last week. They're still working on things. As far as what they do, McCaffrey's got 6 touchdowns out of the 8. Brian Robinson's got 2. And then receiving, McCaffrey's got 5 touchdowns there. Jake Tonjes, I want to see where he went to college at. It's always good to know. California. Okay. Kyle Juszczyk, success rate receiving, leads the NFL, 76.2. And then who else? George Kittle. Come on, man. He's another one. He's an absolute savage. Iowa product. 5th round out of Iowa in the 2017 draft. So Kittles, Tonjes, and McCaffrey, and Juwan Jennings. Those are the guys that are getting it done. McCaffrey leads the NFL in touches from scrimmage with 267. So we know where they're going there. Punting and receiving, we look at what's going on there. We're getting a little long with this video. It looks like Sky Moore is the guy there. 21 returns on kick returns, 28.5 a return. And then punt returns, Sky Moore again, 18 returns for 185 yards, 10.3 there. Kicking, Eddie Pinheiro, 22 of 22, number 1 in the NFL in field goal kicking. 6 for 6 from 50 plus. 8 for 8 from 40. So if there's a difference in this game that clearly stands out, is the 49ers do have the better field goal kicker. That's not even a debate. We've seen what the other guy does for the other team, and it's not really that good, right? He's just not really a guy that he's getting it done like Eddie Pinheiro is. I mean, you look at this guy, he just doesn't miss extra points. But then what the strange part is, he is 18 for 22 on extra points made. He's got 53 kickoffs, and only 11% of them are going for a touchback. Punting, Thomas Morstead, 32 punts, 45 yards a punt. It looks like Carolina's punter is a little bit better. He's 50% of his punts, though. He's got 32 punts, and 16 are landing inside the 20. So that's pretty solid, right? He can flip the field on you. Sacks, as we said, they only got 12 on the year. 45 tackles for loss and 36 quarterback hits. So neither one of these teams get pressure on the quarterback. And I want to take a look at the injury report here, because it looks like this guy Bethune is out, linebacker. Robert Beal. We already know that there's no Bosa. There's guys that are just not going to be in there, Bosa, and they got other guys. But Pearsall's going to be back for another week, where he... But they're missing a couple guys. I can't remember the name, but Bosa's one. I guess they don't put that on the injury report. They're out. But they got guys that are out over there. So you look around, you look at this game. If Wager Detective is going to make a call here, I just think that, Carolina, their history, as we started off the video with, they're 5-2 last 7 versus the 49ers. They're 5-2 in their last 7 at San Francisco. Not bad. They're 3-4 in their last 7 Monday Night Football games, but they do. They play tight games. Their last 5 they're same thing, minus 4.4 over their last 5 Monday Night Football games between their plus and their minus. And if we look at San Francisco, they're 4-5 in their last 9 Monday Night Football, but they're winning by an average of 4.22. I'm getting 7.5 here, so I think that's what I'm going to take. As a matter of fact, I already did. That bet's already in. I took Carolina plus the 7.5. If we're looking at an over/under, I think, both teams don't run. They like to pass. Neither team could get pressure on the quarterback. No Bosa. The 49ers are missing another guy, and Carolina's just not a team that just seems to get. Both teams allow. I think, for me, the final call is going to be Carolina plus the 7.5, and then I believe that this game can sneak over that 49.5. I mean, between their history and between the way San Francisco plays on Monday Night Football, the only thing that scares me about that over is 49ers have been around the world and back. 7 of their 11 games have been on the road. So coming back home can be good, but, it can be taxing at times too. And I think Carolina, for what they've done, I think they can finally get it right here to keep a game close after winning. It looks like, they win and then they lose, and they've lost against all the good teams this year. And I think if they do lose this one, I think it'll probably be close within that 7. So that's the call here. Wager Detective, 5:37 p.m. here on November 24th, 2025 from Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wager Detective is going to call Carolina plus 7.5 against the San Francisco 49ers, and possibly I'm leaning towards the over 49. I'll talk to you soon.